Welcome to a new episode of our podcast, Lead the Future, Change the Conversation. Unedited, honest conversation to create the future. I'm Arjan Visser, Future is in your host, and join me as I today chat with my friend Pete Cafarchio about his new book, Align with Your Design. Pete is, besides an author, a public speaker, an ICF accredited coach who really loves to help leaders, teams, and cultures to transform and reach the next level of growth. Pete, I'm really honored to have you now as an author. We spoke before on the podcast. I'm really excited about this podcast. So thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Arjan, and thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to reconnect with you and see what the latest things we're both learning. And it's to me, it's always interesting. You and I keep hitting some of the same conclusions, but from with different flavor. But they keep aligning. It's interesting.
Yeah, you should be in the diamond industry, multifaceted. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But I was really uh, excited to read your book when it came out at the end of last year, and having published my own book earlier uh, in the autumn, just weeks before. I know what a thrill it is and an excitement it is, and the last months so tough.
That-
But when it's finally there, it's there. So
yes, it's very, very satisfying to have it
yeah.
done.
Yeah, and it really made me think about, and that's what I want to share at the beginning, about what my number one breakthrough in my personal and leadership development was actually that they're pursuing the understanding of who I'm becoming, who I'm created to serve with my value, and who I'm called to accelerate with. Um, and then align your design, it connects for me to that, like, who am I becoming? And I see the parallel, like you said, how we meet each other once in a while, and then we are there is real an intersection. It's not just the connection point. There is an
Yeah,
intersection of our
yeah,
journeys,
yeah,
and
for
you
sure.
helped me great at the beginning, like to really understand my strengths uh, through the Strength Finder, and actually how to look at them, how to interpret them in the context of my design. So tell me a bit
Yeah.
about your book, because else I keep
Okay.
going about my excitement.
And I'm glad I was able to help you earlier. Aligned with your design is it's kind of a passion project. I had a framework about 4 years ago, and I turned it into an online course. And people kept telling me, Pete, you should write a book. Pete, you should write a book. And I said, what am I waiting for? I need to do it. And so this framework was really 7 different ways to view like what your calling or your purpose might be.
Mm,
And I call it a framework. It's not really a formula, because it's not it's you already used the term diamond, and I think that's the way it is. It's multifaceted, and you can turn it different ways and it'll look different. But when you get to see all those together and they come together, you get a fuller picture.
yeah.
And so I'll real quickly, I'll tell you, it's ask the people around you, because they can see you oftentimes better than
Hmm.
you see yourself. Ask a scientific assessment or two, like StrengthsFinder. Ask your history. Look back and see, where have you
Mm,
felt like you've come alive or had some good successes. Ask your hurdles or your setbacks, the things that were very difficult in your life. If you've overcome them, and by the way, I don't mean you're now Superman or Superwoman, but you're not bitter about those anymore, and you've learned from those are sometimes the most valuable things that you have to offer. They've shaped you, and now you can, it becomes part of your mess. We say your mess becomes your message.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a big one. Your passions, and I think that term is overused quite a bit in the vernacular now. It seems like people just say passion means it's fun, or I like it, or it's thrilling. And really, the word passion implies it's something you love so much you're willing to suffer for it,
Mm,
and or sacrifice for it. So we look at that. We also look at the spiritual, and do I have some techniques in there for listening prayer and other things to consider what's going on spiritually, because it ties it all together. And then the seventh is to talk to a professional, like a coach or a counselor, somebody who is attuned with these things and understands them and can give you that outside perspective. So you put all those together, and then the last part of the book, the first part is getting the right mindset. Second part's the framework, and then the third part is how do I condense that and then leverage that, and what are some realistic things to consider for career, and what should I be doing less of, which is a big thing, especially for my client base. They're usually in their 40s to their mid 50s. And it starts becoming more important, not like what should I try harder on? It's like, what should I stop doing? Because yeah.
Oh man, so many hooks that I think, I want to go deeper on that last one. Like I was today working like around goals, and I'm not the type that loves goal setting, because
it's a chore for me too. So.
Yeah, but the main reason is I tap into what I know, understand, and not per se in what I have faith for, what I want to see, what I want to anticipate for. Today I learned but there's a difference between performance goals and mission goals, because mission goals are really that harder, and especially in that age group, everyone is looking for. I know what I need to do. I just want to be more efficient. I want to have the silver bullet, and then we come with our practices, understanding, portfolio. Like, no, you need to slow down and figure out what are the few things you have unique authority in, and what are the other things that are good, but you have to let them go to be more tailored on what is uniquely yours. What's your strength? What can you contribute where there is no competition for others, because you are beyond the comparison. And so it's so hard, because we love, I don't know which part of our brain it is, but we love to repeat our success on a bigger scale.
Yeah, well, I think it's part of your brain wiring, and it's also the formation from, like, almost all my clients are in corporate America, or yeah, actually globally too. It's not just America, but succeeding in a corporate environment trains your brain to think that way.
Yeah.
Right. And it's designed for you to reach the company's goals, right? Their formation process. And it's a discipleship process. It's a formation process. This is how you will be rewarded. Here's the skills you need. And what I find is people, especially like I'd say in their 30s, they're trying very, very hard. They'll sacrifice the work really hard. They have something to prove. And then when they hit their early 40s and into their 50s, it's just not satisfying anymore. They're ready for the next thing. Like, okay, I can do these things. I'm competent. Now what's next? I want more fulfillment. I want more, maybe self-actualization or whatever. And there is no roadmap for that, right? The corporation is not delivering that to you to help you figure that out. And this is where a lot of clients come to me. They're just lost, right? Like, I don't understand why. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it, but it's not satisfying. I'm busy, but I'm bored. And they haven't taken the time, or they don't have a roadmap to, I say, go up to the top of the mountain and survey and get a good understanding to see where they need to be headed. So that's actually why I wrote the book, is really more like self-coaching. Like, because a lot of the principles in here, I mean, you could find these at other places on the internet or in your research. And I don't think that's the value you and I bring as a coach, is to teach people, right? Information is becoming a commodity, where I think my strengths lie is if I can sit with you. Like, I want you to read the stuff ahead of time. So if I can sit with you and we can draw these things out and give you additional discernment, or an objective view to help you get that clarity, that to me is my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
And if someone's paying me, I don't want to spend time teaching. So here, go read this book. And if you're still a coach, come back and talk to me.
But like you say, like in the corporate framework, there's no label, no address, no shelf for self actualization. And you and I, and probably every leader out there know, but that's the core of my healthy leadership skill. And but it's not part of the framework. Actually, you have to go to the section personal growth, where it is between gardening and cooking books. But that's the weird industrialized framing and boxing of the niches. And it should be part of corporate culture, like it should be part of the core of life, because it's all about growing up and becoming, I love the word, becoming a blessing for others
Yes.
by unfolding who you are, because that's the greatest gift you can give. That's your unique value proposition you have as a leader, as an individual, as a human being.
Yeah.
So we are quite on a mission in that sense to get that on the table of where the budgets are, where the big decisions are made, and where the deep longing is for, there's more than just achieving goals and winning the incentives.
Yeah.
There's a meaning of life.
It, Arjan, I don't know about you, but I do get some pushback from folks. Not like I don't want you to coach, but there's certain mindsets that tend to trip people up that I have to get them over first before they're really able to engage this kind of process. And one of them is like if they think, oh, I'm going to spend all this time thinking about myself, that's somehow selfish or self-centered.
Yeah.
And there's a paradox there. And I try to explain this to people. It's like if you can spend some time on this and to get self-awareness isn't selfish, because if you could spend some time on this and get clarity on what you have to offer, you'll actually spend less time after that period of discovery. You'll spend less time thinking about yourself because you won't be cycling, wondering, I wonder about this. You'll stop thinking about yourself. You'll have clarity, and you can aim your energies toward serving other people with much more effectiveness.
Mm.
So in the short term, yeah, it is self-centered, but it's the purpose is so that you can go transform your life so you can go transform the world around you.
Yeah. That's definitely that's a big hurdle in the. I hear that rationale quite often. My question to them is like, but do you long for that development, and have you invested before in your personal development? And in many cases, the big hurdle is not feeling selfish, but the big hurdle is, do I find myself valuable enough to invest in myself?
Yes. Yes.
And the answer
Yes.
is, in all cases, it's the best thing you can do for those around you. So one of my clients says, not investing in yourself, that's really selfish, because then everyone around you has to live with your blind spots while you could have actually
I
worked
love
on them.
that. I love that. I'm going to steal that. That's great. That is really good.
And the more you have done training, the hard, but not paying it for yourself, that's also an interesting one in the decision making. Having had a lot of training paid from a budget is really something different than personal growth, personal leadership
Yes.
development
Yes.
paid by yourself. But the return of investment and the satisfaction and the ownership is all connected to that. Like, I invest in myself. I was courageous enough to raise the platform for those that follow me, that come after me. I've raised not the bar from a performance level, but really, like, I've raised the platform. There's a higher standard, so you invest in everyone who was under your influence for generations.
Yeah. Wow. That is really good. That is really good. I just want to backtrack a little bit when you said, some people, when you pose that question, well, like, what's the unique value you have to bring, or, what sets you apart? And they don't have an answer for that. I think there's a couple of reasons. One is they never really looked at it. They may have had, damaging, limiting words spoken over them earlier, but certainly corporate environments, like, it's training you for one thing: help this company succeed in its goals, which is usually making money, but it could be some other things as well. And that's it. And if your beauty or your uniqueness or the awesome things you have to bring are not exactly defined by that, right? Maybe it's a lot more relational, or creative, or other things like that. Like, it's hidden, it's buried. And that's really, I think, the really the heart of my book. But also, you and I, we were having a discussion before this podcast started, and you had asked me what's one of the core points, and it's this concept of clarity. And I used to think clarity, Arjan, I used to think clarity was, I would get a new thought that explained my life, or finally, a new knowledge that would help me figure things out. And it's actually not that. Clarity is really, it's a process of removal. It's taking things away so that the main thing remains, meaning your ability to see. So a metaphor I like to use is like a foggy morning where you can't see much. The things are there, but you can't see it because it's foggy, and the sun comes out and it burns off the fog, so then you can see what remains. To me, that's clarity. And it's not a new thing you never had before. It's what's already in you. It's just been obscured by wrong value systems from the world systems, or your own pain, or just not seeing, not being valued. And when we can go through this process and take things away to see this is what remains, that's what it makes you come alive. You've had success doing it. All these tests tell you this is what you should be doing. Other people are telling you this is what we really value about you. You can embrace that and say, oh, that's my thing. And it's amazing what it can do for you, as far as a perspective shift.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I would say that's the real definition when we start to talk about scale up. You know,
Mm,
not more in wide, but actually less in more depth, because there is a clarity in it. You know, and I love that. Just the fogginess away. We tend to say, it was hidden in plain sight.
yes, 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 yeah.
And at the other end, we wrestle with the future is ahead of us and unknown. But the strange thing is, the future is only ahead of us when we see ourselves as moving along a timeline. If we completely shift our perspective and we say, no, actually, we are in the moment and time is passing by, then the future comes to us. And the past became part of us or vanished behind us. And in that perspective, it's the same with the clarity. You get more clear what's coming your way and how it actually connects to who you are from the design. All innovation seeds, all talents were in there, and life circumstances developed that into competences. But the future comes to you in a way to actually, but that's an unfolding as well.
Yes,
That is a
unfolding. I love that word. I love that
manifestation
word.
of inside out, outside in, where it comes together in an intersection. And a friend of mine says, like, we tend, and he took a pencil and he said the timeline is like coming from one end to the other end, and I'm in the middle. So I can say, like, future is one end and past is on the other end. But when you turn it, it's just a dot. So there is a part of you not manifesting yet, we call it future. There is
Mhm.
a part already manifesting for a long time, call it your past, and there is a part in the now. So
In the
even
moment.
being in the present is a weird concept in that one. I'm in the moment, you know, and in the moment is movement. And in that, what do I carry? I know I love it how you say, it's like there's a blueprint, there is a design behind your life that makes you so valuable, so unique. How do you discover it? How do you
Yeah.
unfold it in a
Right.
right, healthy way? And I think that's where purpose and meaning comes in.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is great. I could listen to you all day on this. Another mindset blockage that I get from people, like I'll start explaining this and I will really lean into the concept of self-acceptance. Okay. Like I have a blog on how comparison steals your joy. And most of us don't compare ourselves to the real problem isn't when you compare yourself to another person. It's when you compare yourself to a fantasy version that you think you're supposed to be.
Wow.
Okay, that's where the disconnect comes, and we get those signals from media, social media, other expectations on ourselves. And by the way, the fantasy version has much inflated strengths and hides all the weaknesses, right? And that's what we'd rather have. Our ego would rather have that. And then when you see who you really are, which is realistic about your strengths and your weaknesses, we despise ourselves because we want the fantasy, right? And that's that comparison of what I think I should be. In fact, we have this statement: "Don't should on yourself," right? So
Mhm.
don't do all this should. So I explain this, and I see people lean into it, and they're yes, oh, I really like that, and all of a sudden they hit the brakes. They go, "What? Wait a minute, Pete, Coach Pete, um, you're telling me all this self acceptance. Well, where does self improvement come in?" And what I tell them is, it's not either or; it's both and. Okay, they work together. It's like two hands. Self accepting your limitations, the lane that you can within that scope. Yes, we want to lean into. We want to improve ourselves. We want to develop our skills. We want to improve our emotional intelligence so that we can be more effective. Right? We want to learn how to love ourselves better. All these things. That's self improvement. But you can't improve yourself into a different person. And I hate that part of our industry, right? Of personal development. It's like, oh, no limits. You could be anything you want. It's like, no, you can't be anything you want. And I don't like that. Like, stop. Accept who you are. And within those confines, then, and even then there's limits. In fact, limits are healthy. Limits are great. They keep our ego in check. They tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing, and they cause you to be more healthy. Like I'm going to
Yeah.
operate within limits. I'm going on and on. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, I love it. If you self improve um, according to your design, your blueprint,
Yes.
that's how I translate what you say to me, then there is so much more to unfold. There's so much uniqueness. There's so
There's a
much
lot there.
there
Yeah.
is there is and actually that is limitless. If you think of your imagination, that's limitless. That is not, but if you use that wrongly to actually compensate for an expectation from the outside, with all the
Yeah.
hero stories, if you start to see yourself as a superhero, that didn't come from the inside. That was
Yeah.
your answer to the expectation from the outside.
Yeah.
And you don't need that. But if we say leadership develops inside out, you know,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and that's limitless. And then and your brain is genius, so in a way everything is possible. But from the blueprint perspective, everything is from the comparisons to like you descend the fantasy, then you optimize to the wrong standard.
Mhm. And you never get to love yourself. It's like always like I say there's two ditches, right? For self-improvement, the ditch there is I can't love myself until I fix this or improve myself in the areas I don't like.
Yeah.
And that's just it's so negative. It just causes you to just really despise your existing state, right? I have to keep working on this or I'm not good enough. That's the ditch there.
Yeah.
The ditch on the self-acceptance side is everybody leave me alone. I'm good the way I am, and you'll never develop and you won't really learn how to serve people better. It's you stay too much in your comfort zone, right?
Yeah. Or you don't want to you don't want no one to see that you make a mistake, so you get to your next rank, and that's what we see so much in, let's call it, corporate religion. We take the
Yes.
metaphors of sports, we take the metaphors of the military, but sports and the military is a lack situation where one wins always on behalf of the other one. Life is not about that. Life is about everyone winning,
Yeah.
everyone enjoying, everyone has the right. There's more than enough.
Yeah.
But if we
Have you have you read Finite and Infinite Games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I have read it a couple of times, and I think I have to still read it a couple of times.
It's so
There's so many
deep.
layers
It's
in it.
so deep. It's
Yeah.
but it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, because we should stop looking for optimized teams for the corporate goals based on sport metaphors. They are in sports. You want to find the better version of yourself, the optimized version. In life, you want to find fullness, so call it the fuller version of yourself.
Right. Yeah. Because in sports, it's defined by the goal, right? And in life, it's not. It's defined by being present, right? In all its fullness. Yeah. That's great.
So we're talking our minutes.
I know this is going by so fast. I love it.
We could start a series. So just to bring it to closure, and well, your book, can you show it once more? I think
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
really
So it's
valuable.
align with your design. It is 7 steps to find clarity and transform your career. I wrote this, Arjan, primarily for career professionals. That's the bulk of my coaching clients
Yeah.
are in that category, and most of the stories in here reference career shifts based on a perspective change and people finding more satisfaction. I love when I can help someone get unhooked from a false expectation, get a new perspective, and they maybe nothing changes, but their perspective changes, and all of a sudden they love what they're doing again.
Yeah.
I love doing that. But yeah, it's on Amazon is the best place to get it. It's Kindle version, paperback, hardback, and it's audiobook as well. It's not very, it's like 117 pages. It's filled with practical exercises. So it's I am not a fluff. I don't like fluff in books that I read. So it just gets right to the point, keeps it simple, and then gets very practical.
Yeah, those are the best books. Else the book becomes an institute, and this is about to enrich your life. So really endorse the book for not only when you're in the career stages and the shifts, but just generally in life. They're really good reflection questions, and so just for anyone out there, I will just endorse the book and get a copy. Amazon, just search for Pete. Not Coach Pete, but then it would be Cafarchio.
My last name is Cafarchio. Yeah.
Or the Align Your Design.
Align with your design. Mm-hmm.
Align with your design. Yeah. Every time I think, like, was it first align or design?
Well,
align
the framework is align your design framework, but it was a marketing thing.
Yeah.
Align with your design. Yeah.
Other expertise than ours.
Yes. We needed help.
So to bring it to closure, I was just thinking, like, what are the key points of this discussion besides, get the book? What are the key points? What is really relevant to take with us for now?
Yeah, that's a question I love to ask my clients at the end of every coaching session. It's like, what was the main, your MVP, your most valuable point? I think if I was seeing a theme, it's maybe we didn't use the word authentic self, that phrase, but really that's joy is found when you feel freedom to be who you were designed to be, your authentic self, and to be okay with that. And there's so much room within those confines to grow as a person and to serve others. But it's shedding the wrong expectations and those pressures, and getting in touch with that, loving yourself so that you can really flourish.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, well, my takeaway is that whole personal improvement, don't get stuck on a fantasy model of yourself. Really think about like, what's your blueprint? Because because it really triggers to me, that's not because like you have to be, that's not the Calvinistic thought, like you just have to be satisfied. No, you can, but you have to be grateful. There's always hunger for more, but there's nothing wrong with you. You're more than enough. And you will find the joy in it when you stop rejecting it yourself. Love yourself, embrace yourself,
Yes.
unfold yourself, because that's the greatest gift for others as it is for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my my main point for today. Well, I thank you.
Well, thank you. It's always a joy to be with you, and thanks for giving me time here and being able to speak with your listeners.
Yes, and for those listening, there must be something in our conversation that resonated with you. And like I always say, like if it resonates with you, it's a trigger. Don't waste it. It could be a rare moment in your life to be triggered to unfold yourself. So if you're really serious about your personal growth, your self-leadership development, then you should connect and explore with us. So just use the link businessrevivalist.com/connect and set up a call, and we'll figure out. If you want to connect to Pete, just direct message us on LinkedIn or connect with me and I will push you forward. But please, if something resonated with you, do yourself a great gift and take one step and reach out to connect. So Pete, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
We should not wait to next year for another podcast.
We should
do this more frequent.
I agree. Yeah. All right.
Thank you very much and all the best.
Okay. Bye-bye.